Welcome back to another video. Today we are playing Anime Mania. This game just updated after a long hiatus, and we will check it out today. The update consists of 5 new One Piece characters, and a new Wano map. Our goal is to obtain the new characters and clear all the new stages. So let's get started. I obtained the mythical character Kaido from the banner. Kaido shouldn't be obtainable through the banner, but the developers were kind enough to change the banner's legendary to Kaido, so players can get him. Something I don't understand is the legendary pity. It was initially 45 summons to get a legendary, but it has been changed to 75 summons, making it harder to get legendaries, since nobody could farm over 10,000 gems before this update. Thanks to this change, I highly doubt many players were able to get the new characters from the banner during the release of this update. The developers later changed the pity to 100, which I don't understand, because this makes the game harder to progress for the new players, since they will keep getting bad characters that won't help them clear the more challenging stages. I then maxed Kaido with my level 80 Ringokus. Unfortunately, the developers increased the level cap to 100, so I can only max one character. The select all feature wasn't working, so I had to select the fodders manually. The worst part is that the characters weren't showing their rarities color, so I had a hard time trying to find the fodder units. Funny thing is that the developers closed the game for an entire day to test for bugs, and also got the testers to play the game before reopening it, but they somehow missed the easiest bug to find and test for. Now that we have maxed Kaido, let's look at how strong he is in the new stages. Kaido's skills are honestly a disappointment. Mace Smash isn't an AoE skill despite having Smash in the name. It would have made more sense if the developers renamed this skill to Mace Home Run instead. Most of the skills have no animations except for Dragon Roar, but instead of making an animation of Kaido lifting his head and roaring, they made him bend down for a second, almost as if he had a sudden stomach ache, and screamed out in pain. The damage from these skills is very low compared to other mythicals like Heaven Ascended Dio. The developers also said this in their update log. New mythicals that are easier to obtain would be weaker than those requiring evolutions, which makes no sense, since they are all the same rarity. Usually, new mythicals should be stronger to keep up with the new stages. I don't think I've seen any game make their new units weaker than the previous one, so this is the first. I finished the stage after 10 minutes. It was way too long for a mythical character that is level 100, so I decided to re-attempt the stage with Heaven Ascended Dio, and sure enough, I cleared the stage in less than 5 minutes. Keep in mind that I didn't max Dio to the new level cap, so you can see a huge difference between these two characters. I used Kaido again for the next stage, since the developers announced that they buffed Kaido, but I can't notice the difference in damage after the buff, so I will continue using Heaven Ascended Dio to clear the stage faster. 1/5 of this stage is just running to the mobs. It would be great if the developers could add different spawn points for those who want to skip all the running. I cleared the stage after 5 minutes. Dio can somehow put the boss into an infinite combo and negate all the boss attacks. Dio also one-shot bosses when they are low with reality overwrite, making him one of the best characters to kill bosses quickly. He also has a massive barrage range and time stop, clearing mobs in less than seconds. I honestly think this is one of the best characters they've made with an interesting concept. Now let's clear the final stage for this update. There are only 3 stages for this update, which was way less than I expected. The developers had around an entire month to make this update, and the content in it was way less than the previous one, which only took around 2 weeks. It honestly worries me, since this update's quality wasn't better than the previous update. Some people might even call it worse, so I hope the devs can step up their game and push out quality content. The most annoying part of this stage is the mobs that barrage you. These mobs can stun you for a long time and put you in an infinite combo. Stun shouldn't exist in games where you have to fight a lot of mobs at once, since it's easy to get stuck in an infinite combo and lose because of it. I don't think players can solo this stage without a high level character, so it's best to attempt this stage with some teammates if you don't want to grind. I finished the stage after 5 minutes. You can also get Kaido from this stage. The drop rate is 25%, so it isn't that rare. Now let's farm these stages again, until we get the new legendary characters. Kaido got buffed again for the second time, so I used him again while farming. He can now one-shot mobs and deal decent damage to the enemies. However, Kaido isn't better than Heaven Ascended Dio, which means this entire update is useless, since there is nothing for you to do in this update that can help you in the next one. After clearing the first stage twice, I got the new legendary character Kid. Kid only has 3 skills, since the 4th got bugged while the developers were importing it, but he is nothing like the one the developers showed us in the sneak peeks. Kid's looks and animations are different from what you see in game compared to the sneak peek. The developers said that the GUI and bimes are for demonstration purposes, but didn't mention anything else, which is suspicious. Let's give them the benefits of the doubt, and look at the other characters shown in the sneak peeks. I got the next legendary character lore from the banner. Unfortunately, I had to spend my gems until I reached pity, but it's good that I did it before the developers changed it to 100. The developers changed the pity again for the 3rd time when I edited this video. The pity is now 80, which is slightly better than before. A developer also said that we had 6 months to prepare 10,000 gems, which seemed too much to him, so that's why he increased the pity. What he said would have been true if there wasn't a gem capacity for 6 months, and we could grind an infinite amount of gems, which isn't the case. Getting 10,000 gems will take you around a day, which means that you can't do anything for the other 185 days to prepare for this update. Luckily, Law has animations for his skills, so this could mean that the animations for Kid got bugged. But it doesn't make sense, since the developers closed the game for an entire day to look for bugs. I don't think it's possible to miss such an obvious bug on a new character. Law still doesn't look the same as shown in the sneak peeks, which means that a part of the sneak peeks aren't true, and they didn't mention anything about it. The developers also didn't add a proper walking animation for Law, which makes him look super goofy when he is walking. He also lost his sword after using injection shot. It seems like there are still a lot of bugs they failed to fix after closing the game for a day. After clearing the second stage a few times, I got gear for Luffy, who is the main character of One Piece. It's good that these new characters are easy to obtain, but this doesn't mean that the developers can make new characters weak, just because they purposely made it easier to get. Gear for Luffy should be renamed to the Airbender. There are hardly any animations for his skills. Only the effects were noticeable, but they are nothing related to his skills if you watch a few episodes that showed Gear for Luffy. The developers plan to add Gear 5 Luffy in the next update, so this should give you a slight idea of what he might be like. Although catching the trend is a good thing, Gear 5 Luffy isn't even animated yet, so I'm not sure how they will animate his skills without a reference, unless they can somehow do it with just the manga. I got the last character for this update, which is Usopp. It's a good thing that I got him without pity, since summoning for Law drained my gems. Usopp was a rare character, but the developers later changed his rarity to legendary. This means that there aren't any characters with a lower rarity of legendary in this update. Usopp doesn't seem that bad compared to the other characters we've seen. However, based on the sneak peeks that the developers showed us, there is quite a big difference. Usopp looks better in the sneak peeks and has a good running animation. There's also a naming system that allows you to fire the projectiles at where your mouse is. Although you can aim the skills in game, the system looks completely different. There is no hold down feature or red indicators that show where your attacks will be. Usopp also doesn't use his Kabuto for M1s and punches the enemies instead. I find this very lazy of the developers for not adding them, since sniping is Usopp's speciality. This update is nothing but a disappointment. The developers showed us sneak peeks and built up hype, without saying a word about the parts that they won't be adding into the game. Keep in mind that they had a month to make this update, and making something like this with that much time isn't good. If you compare this with the previous updates this game has, the game owner said they would do better with the upcoming updates, so let's hope that the next update will be better. There's a high chance I won't be coming back to this game after seeing this comeback. It's honestly one of the worst comebacks I've seen this year. I might get ratioed for talking about my opinions on this update, so please leave a like to help me. Subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my uploads. I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.